Listen, at some point in your jiu-jitsu career, you might have to move on to a new school. You might be leaving town. You might be having to research a brand new school. And you look down around your waist and you see your current belt rank. And all of a sudden, the thought pops into your head, oh, shoot, should I actually keep my belt rank? Is this instructor going to honor my actual belt rank? Should I take my stripes on? Should I leave them off? This is such a common question that I get from jiu-jitsu students. And I have this conversation all the time. So I'm going to let you guys know about if you should keep your rank, if you shouldn't keep your rank. What are some potential red flags if you hear this from certain instructors, in my opinion, and also some potential red flags if you're a jiu-jitsu student. So stick around, settle in. We're going to talk about it in this video coming up right now. How's it going, everyone? My name is Chasen Hill. I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt. I've been teaching and training now for 13 plus years. So if you guys like all things jiu-jitsu, this is probably a pretty good channel for you guys to check out. I release weekly jiu-jitsu videos, so make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the bell icon. That way you're notified when the next new weekly video comes on out. Since I've been helping run and train at a jiu-jitsu school now for close to 12 years, there is often times where students will come to me and they will say, Chase, I hate to do this. I hate to say this, but I need to cancel my membership because me and my family, we're moving. I got another job offer across in maybe a different state. And so now I'm needing to cancel my membership and I'm going to be looking at training at other schools. And when I got to looking, I saw that this school has a different curriculum. They're under a different lineage of jiu-jitsu. And that just got me thinking, should I actually keep my belt or should I start over? And this can be very anxiety driven. This can feel like to make students feel like that maybe they belt that they earned, they no longer should earn it. They should no longer wear it at the school. This is from a two parts thing. It's kind of an insecurity on the student, but also this is martial arts and they're trying to show a form of respect. Like, I don't want to disrespect the guy. Like, I'm a blue belt from this school, but I'm not a blue belt from that school. And so all these thoughts going through students' heads. And so my goal is that if I have a student that's in that situation, is I want them to feel comfortable about moving on and training at another school. This is kind of the information that I will give them and talk to them about and lay it out in this way that usually tends to help make them feel better. So the first part is that I want to state my opinion that absolutely 99.9% of the time, a student should keep their jiu-jitsu rank unless they are wanting to willingly give it up for some reason, which I do actually have a story about that I'll talk about coming up here soon. That students should keep that rank because at one point an instructor deemed that you are knowledgeable and that you demonstrated enough skill that you are awarded that rank. This video kind of stemmed from a question that I received on Instagram, and they were saying that they were in the military, they had obtained their blue belt, and then they took a break because they were in service, and so they had stopped training jiu-jitsu, and now they're wanting to get back into it. They felt like that maybe they were no longer a blue belt, and he was asking if he should keep his rank. And I told him, absolutely. Like I said, that rank acknowledges some type of knowledge that you have obtained and some skill that you had. Your skill might be a little bit dusty. Don't get me wrong. You might have to kind of shove the dust off there, but you should absolutely keep it. And from me as a jiu-jitsu instructor, I like to honor that. I think sometimes us as jiu-jitsu instructors, we're kind of paranoid that whatever we're doing is the best and whatever we're doing should be the standard because we're controlling our own echo chamber, that if that student hasn't obtained that style of information, then therefore, their belt is no longer valued. I have to trust as the instructor that whoever gave this person this belt is correct in their assessment. So we have to be a little bit more trusting in the Jiu-Jitsu society and that we can fix it if we see some problems and what that student wants to come up that I'll talk about coming up right now. So usually what happens is that whenever I see a new student who comes in with the current belt, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to assess their current ability. So I will give you guys this advice if you're a student that's going into this situation. Like I said, maybe you're like my student that's moving and going into a new school, is that you need to give the instructor time to kind of assess you. I can't download everything that you know inside of your jiu-jitsu brain. I can't download it and then see what you know to make an accurate assessment. Most of the time, what I'm looking at is about whole belt rank. I don't really care about stripes. So you could come in and be a blue belt with maybe 4 stripes on your belt. If I see, based upon certain gaps and holes and proficiencies that we're wanting our purple belts to know, and I see that you're maybe very far away from it, I'm not going to take away your stripes. I just may delay your promotion to purple belt and push it back a little bit longer. Now, does that suck for the student? Absolutely, because maybe they knew they had 4 stripes and maybe they were told that they were going to get their purple belt relatively soon. But if you're going to be a student underneath me, you also have to trust that the reason why I'm withholding that rank is not because I don't like you. It has nothing to do with personal, but it's because I either see a gap deficit that you don't have that I think purple belt should know, or I just need more time assessing you. That's always going to be the risk of changing schools. And this is often, I know, why students kind of stay out of school. They will often stay out of school because they just don't want to waste time in their promotion. You know, what's more important is climbing the belt ladder versus kind of finding an instructor you trust. I would, in my opinion, and this is kind of what happened to me, is I would rather have an instructor that withholds my promotions a lot more and that I really trust and is not just giving me promotions based upon a relationship, but actually thinks I'm that rank. And I take forever to climb the jiu-jitsu rank than someone who just promotes me really fast and I stay in a potential toxic environment or an environment that I don't enjoy just to continue climbing the jiu-jitsu rank. But hey, to each their own. So let me know down in the description below, have you guys ever thought about giving up your rank before? Have you guys ever thought like, man, I'm actually not this rank, I should just give it away? Also, if you guys are looking for a little bit of jiu-jitsu help, make sure you snag my free Jiu-Jitsu Acceleration Guide that you can find in the description below. You develop a basic training plan and get you some insight about what you can potentially be doing to start to improve your jiu-jitsu just a little bit faster. The next thing that I'll give you guys advice on as a student is that the student also needs to buy in to whatever the academy is doing. I had a student at one time who came to us that was a 4-stripe white belt, and he moved on from another school. He was no longer happy, so he started training with us, and he had all 4 stripes. Now, by no means did I take away his 4 stripes, but he expressed to me very heavily that he wanted to be a blue belt and that he knew that we had a curriculum and there was an order, and he was willing to start completely over because he valued our curriculum so highly. He wanted to go through the curriculum and start all the way over again. So he said that he took off 1 stripe. He took off his 4th stripe and he stayed at 3 stripes until he reached his 4th stripe into our program. And then we gave him that 4th stripe because now he was like, now I'm an actual 4-stripe white belt at this academy. And then his next belt was a blue belt. If that was the inverse, if he would have already got his blue belt from the other school and then came over to us as a blue belt, of course, I wouldn't have made him retake the blue belt test. Once again, I would have acknowledged his rank. But what would have probably eventually happened is that he would have had some gap deficits and he probably would have had to somehow learn that curriculum very passively over time on his way to purple belt. This is kind of the overarching thing that a student also needs to buy in to what the instructor wants to do in order to help them and to get better at jiu-jitsu, is that you have to buy into that school and fit into whatever requirements that they might have. And once again, you can't be like, oh man, I don't want to do that. Oh man, I don't want to do this. Oh man, that seems like too much work. I just want to be in jiu-jitsu for fun. Well then, I don't know what to tell you, because usually there's a reason why that school has that laid out. And so if you don't like that, maybe go find a new school. And then if you can't find any school that fits you, maybe that's saying something about you and not the jiu-jitsu schools itself. So what are some potential red flags that you guys need to might watch out for? Well, first off, one of the biggest red flags that I encourage students to watch out for is how the instructor treats you at your belt. If they tend to devalue you or belittle you or say, oh yeah, I got my belt from this person or I got my belt from that person, and they say, oh, that person is trash, that school is no good. Oh yeah, I know that guy is terrible, and you made the right choice of being here. Just be very careful, because if that's the stuff that they're saying to you right now and they've only just met you, then chances are what they're saying when you're not around or later on is going to be very interesting as well. So be careful about how people approach you about your rank. We have to understand that a ranking scale is different per school and where they come from. So I've done other videos about that in the past, so you guys can go check those out. But typically, I find that as a very big red flag as an instructor. The other big red flag is if they do make you actually give up a belt or start completely over. Now, if it's a mutual conversation and you guys talk about it and you understand the reasoning and you're voluntarily doing it, that's I guess, your decision and your choice, and that's fine. I would still think it's a little bit weird if the instructor still approached you and said, "Hey, take off your belt. I think you should be this belt," unless it's a promotion. Then, yeah, if they're trying to like demote you or something, that's kind of a little bit weird in a power play, in my personal opinion. So just be very careful about that red flaggy. From a student standpoint, some red flags that I see from the student coming in is kind of the inverse. If they have told me that, this instructor is withholding their promotion and that they're this skill level and they're this ability and that they really think that they should be a purple belt when they're a blue belt and this instructor is just playing favorites and they're kind of talking all that negative stuff about their previous school, like in that way, then that's kind of red flaggy from me. If I'm getting this vibe that you think you're this great jiu-jitsu world champion when you're really not anything, you're just like a hobbyist, but you're trying to talk up your skills and about how good you are, and you're looking for a place that can promote you to the next level. If I hear all these things from students, I get very skeptical and I get very red flag, not even in the sense of their ability. They may be absolutely correct in their ability, but them just as a general person. Usually, in my experience, people that come in like this are the most difficult students to deal with. And if they've changed from like 4 or 5 schools, there's a good chance that there's a reason for that. Once again, back to the same thing. If no school fits you and every school is trash, then that might be saying something about you and not necessarily about the jiu-jitsu school. So just to summarize it again, I definitely think that most jiu-jitsu students should keep their belt. It's an acknowledgement of what they've been able to obtain. It's a symbol to the outside of the people, potentially what you know, and you worked very hard for it. So I will never take anyone's belt away that actually earned it. Just be careful about when you're going into a new environment. If you feel people are belittling your accomplishment, just be very wary of that. But ultimately, I think most students should not give up their belt when they're either moving on to schools or for whatever reason. You earned it, you should keep it. Just like whenever you get a higher end education degree, are you as sharp and as smart as you were about that very specific paper that you wrote a thesis on 15 years ago? Probably not, but that doesn't mean you still haven't accomplished a lot, and that should be acknowledged and awarded. Thank you guys again for making it to the end of another video. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button down below. That way you guys never miss the latest video when it comes out. And stick around and check out one of these 2 videos that are going to pop up right here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.